I read an article in a really old Fangoria magazine from 2002 about Halloween Resurrection, and sometimes I like to look back in the old magazines to see what they're saying about a movie before it's released, and sometimes it's quite funny, especially with Halloween Resurrection, because in this magazine they're saying that it's going to be a good movie, etc. But that wasn't the talking point for me when I was reading back on this, because this article is 17 years old, over 17 years old. But looking back, what could have been with Halloween Resurrection was very interesting. As most people know, the title of Halloween Resurrection wasn't always the title. It was going to be called Halloween Homecoming, and it did get a bit of a delay as well. It was supposed to come out back in late 2001, I believe, but it got delayed to July 2002. So from that already we knew there was going to be some issues. There's a really funny quote that I'm going to read out to you guys, because obviously 17 years later this doesn't really make much sense, but it says, "The script promises an end to some story threads and a jump start to a few new beginnings," but obviously we didn't get that, because Halloween Resurrection was the very last in the original franchise. A lot of you will also know that Jamie Lee Curtis was only supposed to have a 30-second cameo in Halloween Resurrection, but apparently she read the script and she loved it so much that she decided to extend that 30-second cameo, and it took 4 days for her to film that. And let's not forget, she got paid $5 million for 4 days work. So whether she was happy with the script or not, if she's getting paid $5 million for 4 days work, she will be happy in the end. Here's where it gets really interesting. Mustafa Akkad says in the interview for Fangoria that there was an early draft, a first draft of this movie, and there was a character called Donaldson in the first draft, which was a tribute to Donald Pleasance's character, Sam Loomis, and he was supposed to be playing a Loomis type character, which it didn't happen, it didn't come to fruition. But that makes me question, what was the script going to be like? Because you couldn't have a Loomis type character in the type of movie that we got in the end with the whole internet web series thing. That just wouldn't work with a Loomis type character. They did mention that Larry Brand, who wrote the first draft, they let him go because the script seemed a little too complicated for what they were trying to do. Sean Hood was then brought in to rewrite the script, and that is the script that we know today as Halloween Resurrection. Another interesting fact that I just read as well was a director called Whitney Rancic was brought on to direct the movie. He was just about to start filming with this script, and they suddenly just let him go because they felt that he wasn't experienced enough to direct a Halloween movie. So they let him go, and then they brought in Rick Rosenthal. So they not only did they let go the person who wrote the script initially, they also let go the director. So what could have been with if they didn't change the writer or director, what kind of movie could we have got? Could we have got better than Halloween Resurrection? I'd probably say yes. They always claimed that Resurrection was in the works before Halloween H2O was even finished filming. They always said that the ending of Halloween H2O was intentional, and the beginning of Halloween Resurrection was always intentional as well, but it wasn't. You can clearly see that it wasn't, because a script was already written for Halloween Resurrection that was completely changed. So I think that they only said that because Halloween H2O was so successful and they just wanted to ride on that success and bring out more sequels. I'd say that the most interesting thing that I read in that article was about that character Donaldson. Who could he have been? Where would they fit into Halloween Resurrection? For me personally, I think that if they called it Halloween Homecoming, had this character Donaldson in it, had the original writer wrote the movie with the original script, and had Whitney Rancic direct the movie, we could have had a completely different movie. And like I said earlier on, I think that it could have been a lot better than Halloween Resurrection. So what do you think of that, guys? Do you prefer just seeing Halloween Resurrection as it was, because you've seen it and you've either liked it or you hated it? Or would you have liked to have seen them go in a different route, the more Dr. Loomis kind of route? For me, I'd want to see the more Dr. Loomis style route, because that's the route that we had from Halloween 1, 2, 4, 5 and a little bit of Halloween 6, but we didn't get that in Halloween H2O, and if they wanted to go back to the Halloween roots, I think that would have been a better way to go, rather than getting the whole technology route that they went. Anyway guys, thanks a lot for watching again, thanks for subscribing, I'll see you soon, bye bye.